I've been meaning to make this video for a while now, and I wanted to talk about the 450 grind, or soon to be, I guess, 550 grind for power leveling in Edge of Fate right now. And I wanted to just kind of cover the topic of, is it worth it? Now, before you scream at the rooftops, I know what a lot of you are thinking. Sneak, we know the leveling system is terrible. We already have the answer to the question, why are you making the video? And believe it or not, I do agree with you that the system is obviously flawed, and it's a massive grind, and they absolutely should fix it. I am in agreement there. But that's not the only thing that I want to talk about. Yeah, there's the whole time sink and the time investment, and not everybody can play like 4, 6, 8 hours a day, jobs, families, all that. Yeah, that's part of it. But I also wanted to talk about, once you actually get over that hurdle, is it actually worth it to get those rewards? So in other words, if you get to 450, are the tier 5s and all the other rewards at that level actually worth it? So let's start with time. Now, initially, obviously, everyone's going to say, yeah, it takes way too long to get to 400 or 450, but I want to make this a split decision. So, yes, the grind is very long, and clearly that needs to be updated through the portal, but I also want to argue that there could be a long grind that is also enjoyable, but the core issue is that while you're on this massive long grind, it's just super repetitive and boring. And a major factor of this is going to be the solo ops playlist. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with playing solo. There's tons of solo players in this game, and the playlist itself is not so much the problem. It's that it is by far and away the most efficient way to level in the game, to the point where if you are doing literally anything else once you've hit 400, you are completely wasting your time in terms of efficiency. And this made it to the point where it turned a multiplayer online game where you play with friends to, I'm just gonna beat my meat and play K1 and Caldera 24/7. Now, let's say the grind had an artificial number, let's say 100 hours. You could hit max power in 100 hours. But the difference was that you didn't need to just do the same one single thing 800 million times to get there. Let's say the portal was different and it was fixed, and you can actually do different activities or bounce back and forth and get rewarded for having variety. You can start with solo ops, but then you get a bonus where you go into fire team ops and you complete a fire team ops activity, and then you get a triple bonus and you go into pinnacle ops, and if you complete that within a certain amount of time, you get 4 drops, 5 drops. You get the idea. If it was that version of the grind as opposed to now, I feel like a lot of people would not necessarily mind the time investment. Again, hypothetical example, 100 hours. They just hate doing the one same thing over and over again, especially if they don't want to do that one single thing to begin with. I guess the question I'm trying to ask people is, would you be enjoying the grind as long as it wasn't the current flavor of the grind and it was properly fixed? Or would you still be in the boat of the hours still need to be cut in half for the current leveling system? Would the time investment be worth it in those scenarios? Now, on the flip side, I want to talk about the other side of the mountain of getting to max light and then reaping your rewards. In this case, getting tier 5s somewhat consistently, or if you dare play the Crucible, I guess, every game. The reason I'm asking is because there are people that actually don't mind the current grind, believe it or not, but rather don't like the rewards that you get at the top of the mountain, as in tier 5s are not worth the effort. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that, but here are my 2 cents on, is it worth it once you actually get to tier 5s. Playing devil's advocate, there is some truth to the tier system not mattering that much in regards to how good your gear is or how good a weapon is. More so on the weapon side, I would say a weapon that can get, let's say, an enhanced perk at tier 2 isn't that insane compared to a tier 5 with the same perk. Yeah, the tier 5 is better, clearly, but I wouldn't say the tier 2 is just guaranteed trash if you have one and can't happen to get a tier 5 at the moment. A good example of this would be the new shotgun hand cannon that we got. Originally, when Arms Week came around and the hand cannon was released, most people in the game got a tier 2 hand cannon. Some people that were grinding insane hours were able to get a tier 3 or a tier 4, and those are better, but at its base, the tier 2 version was still going to do the same exact job of going into the Crucible and hitting a shot and then throwing your stupid throwing knife around the corner through 18 boomerangs and hitting somebody in the face and killing them instantly. I mean, having fun using a 1-2 punch setup in PvE. However, when it comes to the armor side of things, this is where I heavily disagree with these people. While weapons have some stats attached to them in certain ways, armor is all about stats, and stats make all of the difference in this game, especially now in terms of build. Can you get away with running builds with tier 3 armor? Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely make that work in most of the game, if not all of it. But when you compare tier 3 armor to tier 4 armor, or tier 4 to tier 5, it's just not really a competition, in my opinion. What do I mean by this? So let's just have an example of you want to make a grenade build, and you want to have 100 grenade, because you want to have the lowest cooldown for your grenade, and you want to have 100 super, because you want to get your super as fast as you can. Same reasoning, right? And with tier 3 armor, you can accomplish that. You get 100 grenade and then 100 super, and then any other extra points you can throw on into grenade to get bonus damage, right? Cool, that'll work. Your build will be fine. Now, if we take that and compare it to tier 5, it's almost an entirely different build, because the differences are staggering. Let me show you an example here. So this is my tier 5 grapple build, which is a grenade-based build on Hunter. And as you can see, my stat distribution is 90 melee, 180 grenade, 110 super, 60 class, and 50 weapons. Getting this stat distribution with tier 3 or even tier 4 armor is just impossible on tier 3 and borderline impossible on tier 4. Yeah, you can make a good build, sure, but to maximize like I am right here with all these stats and different distributions is an entirely different thing. And some of you might be thinking, well, it doesn't make that much of a... No, it does make a significant difference. Let's take my grenade stat, for example. So, at 100 grenade, you're just getting your cooldown lowered, and that's it. Me, at 180, plus my font in my gloves, which would make it 200, by the way, I would be getting 65% bonus damage on my grapple, which also stacks with my melee stat, which would then also give me bonus damage if I got it to over 100. But it happens that grenade does more overall, 65 versus 20 or 30, I believe, so I have more in grenade. But the point is, I'm getting way more mileage out of my build than I would if I had a 100-100 build. And there's two main things that make this massive difference. For tier 3 and tier 4, their base armor drop is not a flat drop. It's a different amount each time depending on your RNG. So for example, for tier 4s, you can drop as high as 74 or as low as 70. Then in tier 3s, you would be dropping in the 60s. There's no guarantee odd that you'll get the exact same amount, right? You don't get 65 every single time. With tier 5s, not only do you get a flat 75 every single time guaranteed, but they also have an additional stat built into it. That is the tuning stat, which is here in this slot. It gives you 5 points to whatever drops as your tuning stat. In this case, it's melee for my helmet, and then takes away 5 points based on whatever you want to take away, aka health. It's always health, because health is completely useless in PvE. So my helmet, I have melee, and my gloves, I have grenade, and you get the picture. So you can technically get an additional 25 points out of thin air on your armor, assuming you're wearing 5 legendary pieces, just by having tier 5 armor. And let's not forget the fact that you also get an 11th energy point in your armor too, which can indirectly also help your build statistically, because you can add, let's say, another font mod for another 20 points in your build. Here's another example of tier 5s working their magic. A PvP build. I ended up getting 150 health, the only place where health matters in this game now, 70 melee, 73 grenade, 100 super, 100 class ability for my dodge, and then, well, the weapon stat, who cares? It's a pretty well-distributed build to have all of my cooldowns be reasonably good and also have 150 health. Basically, what I'm getting at is I do think that tier 5 armor, at least, is absolutely worth it once you actually get over the hurdle of the leveling system. Now the question just remains, what do you guys think? Do you agree? Disagree? Maybe if Bungie properly fixes their leveling system in Ash and Iron, we can find out. They reverted all their dumb stuff they were going to do to the portal and then added multiple prime drop chances and +1s for people that are 500 to 550. I don't know if that's going to be enough, but it remains to be seen. Hopefully they actually fix the damn Pinnacle Ops part of the portal so we can enjoy leveling. Anyway, I'm done yapping. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing today. It does help the channel grow and is much appreciated. If you want to go the extra mile, you can leave a like and a comment below as well. If you don't know what to leave as a comment, you can leave worth it as the comment. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.